Most people in life are looking for how to make a life worth living and retirement worth having. The children of America are losing out with the rest of the world. There was once a high school related video. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but I think it was like 2 million minutes, where it showed how our children were stacking up in the world against other nations, other worlds' children, in terms of what we were learning compared to what they were gaining. You see, we have a problem right now that people are trying to obliterate history through monuments and very expensive artwork. It is immoral to take away a person's right to know the history of their culture, a history of their land, and a history of the struggles that we have endured to come this far. The truth is, we have much further to go. This evening I moved myself away from the rain that I could see coming, the electricity, if you will, the electrical currents of God, and moved myself under an awning under a favorite place I like to shop for clothing. What I love about the store is that it serves all types of people, from the Amish to the foreigners and infidels that are here illegally in our land. But what I like about it is that I can actually find my pant size there on occasion when the shelves are stocked. More often than not, I see people leaving with nothing in hand, especially men. That is the fault of the store, not being stocked well enough. My point is not to talk about the shop. My point is to talk about the experience of standing there in a defensive stance, feeling uncomfortable at the critters coming at me. They were two young black women mouthing off very loudly in red caps, in smocks and red pants. What I have learned from the Lord and the house of God, that the red in the hair says, I am a bloodthirsty woman of color. It says, I will fight you tooth and nail in my mind, but I may submit to you in my soul for my work. Additionally was a young man who was not staying with them, a straggler of sorts, a tall, lanky fellow who clearly projected an image of, I'm a badass at 17. What I know about that experience is that they will strike, they will violate space, and that is precisely what happened. They kept coming at me within 5 feet of being with me. What I know from teaching self-protection long ago with police officers who were good people, that people have a rights and a distancing, social distancing, even today is what we're calling it, of 6 feet. Those young people were dishonoring the rules of our community. They were not honoring the 6-foot distance. They were not acknowledging an old man standing there with his possessions, and they had every right to walk around to show honor of our society rules of social distancing. When I asked them to please walk around, they got uppity and arrogant and difficult. They complained about me taking up the sidewalk, as if I didn't have the same rights they had. On top of that, the young black man decided to walk through in my intimate personal space that only my closest of relatives and my lovers get to walk into. I asked him before he got there to walk around. He insisted on not doing it. That was a violation of my personal space on purpose. The problem with the taunting and the promotion of Black Lives Matter is not the campaign itself. The problem is that it says to the world that other races don't matter as much right now. We are seeing the defiling of historic relics. We are seeing the defiling and the abuse of historic statues. We are seeing the abuse of people across America. It is not because police have violated people's rights. I have had my rights violated by police officers. I've had my property stolen. I've had my paperwork destroyed. And I've had police officers thinking they were lord of my life. I have been stalked, hazed, and harassed for almost 5 years. But every day I wake up, I pray to God, and I move on in my life. I show everyone regard who deserves it. But when an older man asks a young child who is not yet an adult to walk around, the child's response should be automatically trained in that child, regardless of race, regardless of color, regardless of nationality, regardless of nature, that means a man has requested you to walk around. Elderly rights have rights. People have the right to say, I don't need you in my personal space when an epidemic is going on. And openly, those 3 children should be put in jail for that violation of multiple levels of social inappropriateness. The problem with the blacks in power today is they're always complaining about what is happening to them, but they are not teaching what they should be teaching. They're not saying this is a time of social distancing. What that means is that we give regard to all people. We give regard to show honor to our own heritage, our own lives that matter. And we show that our lives matter by honoring other people and allowing their lives to matter to them as well.